Release District.
Agbaya, 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 Agbaya.
Cheese, come on, live in the flesh.
In the flesh, we are live.
It's the Agbaya show.
Yeah.
You're tuned in with Damo.
Remington.
Come on, welcome, my guy.
Say, my G, how's your week been?
Bruv, you know what? It's been a decent week, you know.
Yeah.
Football's finally back.
I'm happy for that.
You know, them ones Arsenal. You know,
Yeah,
we're doing all right. You know, them ones there.
Man.
You see us.
Cool. Newcastle as well.
Newcastle, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Newcastle are trying. Chelsea, I don't know what they're, bro. That's literal.
I don't know what they drew with Liverpool, innit?
Yeah, they went Bicester Village, got all the all the players. They're spending. You know, you go to Bicester Village with 10 bags. Coming back with something.
Yeah.
I'm leaving with something.
Something.
You know them ones there, but you know what? Man, just happy that the ball's back. You know, gotta give the babes their time now to leave. Like,
But leave us alone.
Leave us alone.
Let us watch our thing. Roll the thing. Watch it.
You know,
good,
bro. They had all summer. Bro, of our attention.
now it's Prem.
Now it's Prem. Now we're inside. We're not outside no more, bro.
It's mad. Hey, bro, quick question, yeah. Do you know? I think this week that Saudi, they're trying to buy themselves into the Champions League, bro.
Saudi Arabia trying to do the Champions League. That is crazy.
At least one team, probably whoever wins the cup.
Okay.
First on their league. But I think they're trying to do it by 2025 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Preach, what you say? You watch footy? You don't do the footy? Bro, what's going on with these guests nowadays?
I don't know.
You both think I've not kind of chimed in? I've just sat back.
You just tried to, them man just.
I heard that.
When is my time?
Yeah, I will talk.
When are they talking to me? Nah, joking. But listen, it's one of them ones. We got a special guest in the house.
Yeah.
One special close to me, fam. He's a bro. I call him my brother. You know the one there. I love what he's doing. You know the one there. My baby mums. You get me? All the baby fathers with kids, bro. You got to plug in this episode because we got Preacher, the storyteller.
Hey, come on. What an introduction.
Come on.
What an introduction.
Hey, we're getting better.
Yeah. Alright, cool.
Love that one still.
Hey, come on, man. Thank you for coming on, Preacher, man. You know them one there. And, you know, before we move on, we normally tell the guests to, you know, tell the people their name, where they from, what they do, you know.
So, so I'm Preacher, the storyteller, and who I am, I'm a storyteller, specialised in children's storytelling, children's entertainment, hosting and entertainment as well.
Jeez, come on, man. We love that. Listen, and just watching what he does already, all I'm saying is Gracie's Corner, Jules TV, all these children's shows. Listen, you got, bruv.
Yeah. I said plug it.
Oh, what did I say? What did they say? You have a run for your money, or what did they say?
Well,
when somebody's coming for your money,
I don't know.
Preacher's giving you a run.
I'm giving you a run for your money.
Why are we stupid?
Yeah,
Why are we?
we always do this. We always do this. I'm trying to catch on. I'm trying to think. What run for your money?
I know.
I'll give him a run for his money. It's the way it was said.
Are you running after?
I'm running for my money. I'm running for my money.
But no, listen, Gracie's Corner, Jewel TV, Amar, Baby, all these YouTube shows. Listen, Preacher the Storyteller is here to stay. And he's giving all of you a run for your money. Come on. In a professional and loving way. You get me? Everyone's gonna eat. You get me? But obviously, Preach, thank you for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it, bro.
Come on, man. This one's been long overdue. Like, this guy drove far to come to this.
Where you drive from, bro?
From Bournemouth still.
Cool.
Jeez, come on.
I like that, man. Come on. How was the journey, though?
You know what? It was all right. It started all right. I woke up on time.
Then storytellers, I can see, yeah.
And then the traffic started popping up. You see when the traffic starts popping up, you know when your heart starts beating, you're thinking, no.
I need to get there on time. I've organised myself to the best of my ability. Now you want to come
I
and...
wanted to get a coffee, brother.
You see that there?
You see?
But you know when you hear that, the reroute, and then the time just started popping up and then traffic. But apart from that, it was an all right drive.
Yeah, nice.
I listened to a couple sermons, had a couple phone calls, got some work done. So I made the best out of a stressful long journey.
There you go.
And you know what? That's one thing I know about Preacher, making the best out of a bad situation. Turning negatives into positive. It's something that this guy is known for. You see, more time I never really see him stressed because sometimes the energy he has already, I'm thinking, bro, what is great? Are you doing cocaine?
Something, innit? No,
Are
the L's ain't losses, fam. The L's ain't losses. They're just lessons learned.
Like, why are you so
carry
happy?
on.
That's the thing.
Come on, man. We're moving on to Agbaya of the week. I'm gonna let the clip roll on this one.
Holy shit.
Because listen, you people out there, I need to know what the logic is behind sitting in front of traffic, like this pollution thing. I need to know.
No, they've lost the plot. You see what them man try to glue their hand to the
Bro,
what the what?
Bro, super glue. You can't even.
Super glue.
Bro, he cannot beat his meat again.
One meat, they have to cut their hand, bro.
Bro, you're saying, bro, it's the truth. You know, it's a common thing. Not saying that he does. I'm not saying that he has to beat his meat, but something like that, a common thing. You can't even hold your peace.
No, do you know what?
Wait, when we're saying super glued his hands.
So he's super glue, whatever the gorilla glue, the strongest glue. He's done it to the
Gorilla
pavement.
glue. That's the yeah.
He's done it to the pavement now because they want to be environmental, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now the police have come now. Get up, trying to drag them up. They can't get up, bro. Because they're stuck.
Do you know what?
To the thing.
Do you know what?
When they get up, they get up with the pavement. Like they've got the pavement in their hand, bro.
But I've gotten to the level now, yeah, where I actually sit back and I hear these stories, and instead of losing my mind, instead of losing my temper, do you know what I say?
Good.
I respect that man.
Swear, why? But why though?
No, think about this. He's ready to lose his hand for the game,
cause.
for the cause. Don't get me wrong, we're all still gonna lose our temper, but this is the thing. It's like punching a brick wall. If you lose your temper at a brick wall, who gets hurt? You get hurt. If this man's already dedicated to the cause so much that he's willing to see you get angry just to make a point of screaming out, stop oil, and he's ready to lose his hand.
He's ready to die for it, bro.
I say, all right, cool, I respect you. It's a bit mad. I would never do that myself, but, you know.
All I know, yeah, is...
I hear that, though. I hear it.
You
span it. You span it.
But I'm going to spin it back.
I said spin that.
I want to spin it back. You know why? Because little stuff like now, when you go and link your thing and you do this and you put your hand in the top to touch her cleavage, you cannot do it again.
Can't do it again.
I told you cannot hold his peace. You cannot hold his peace again.
Yeah, but did your mother never ever tell you? Those who don't hear must
feel. And he's
Now
feeling.
He's feeling. And this
So
is...
he's gonna regret.
He's gonna regret.
He's gonna regret. Your life has changed. But I get it though. He's just gonna say the same thing that he said. He'll probably say, "I'll do it again." He'll probably say, "I'll do it again." He'll probably say, "I'll do it the other hand."
You know what? Sometimes
foot.
I think this is what makes them kind of like peculiar people. I don't want to call them. I don't want to say they're fools because they're fighting for a good cause. Like they're tired of the air being polluted by the nonsense vehicle.
There's different ways to do it, bro.
You see, but
like,
then
there's different ways to do it.
like what?
But are you gonna get heard? I get it. Maybe those ways are a bit more softer. I don't know, but there's different ways to do it. Like, what are you gonna do by getting your hand amputated off? Or it's still going on. You gotta go to the juggler. You gotta go to the government. You gotta find a different type of tactic.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
As much as I said I respect it, I get what you're saying because I understand that thought process because it doesn't make no sense. Let's take into consideration babies.
Yeah.
You see, once a baby cries once or twice at a newborn age, the mother and the dad, they'll run to the baby's attention. When the baby hits about 8 months and the baby's crying, they say, don't worry, let the baby cry.
Yeah,
Guess
true.
what?
Yeah,
it's when the baby's quiet. That's when parents start to move. That's when parents are like, what's going on? When the baby's just making up noise in the house, the parents don't want to know. And it's the same thought process to humans, to adults. The more adults are just screaming and making noise, we're not listening because we're so annoyed at the fact that you're stressing our day that we're not even going to listen to your point.
Anyway.
So at the end of the day, maybe if you was quiet about how you do it,
There you
listen to you
go.
better.
And
But-
there's the landing.
And,
but-
okay, so that's and you say the quietness is where he super glued his hand and sat there quiet. I'm trying to link it because
Oh dear.
because that guy
that guy's a fool though.
bro, he's not escaping. He's not escaping Agbaya of the week.
Yeah, no, 100%.
He's not escaping it.
100%.
Because bro, your
Fool.
hand,
No,
your hand,
big fool. Big
bro,
fool.
your hand, bro.
You can never anything.
You cannot beat your meat, bro. I don't want to listen. I'm not saying we beat our meat in this room, but that is the main thing that came to my mind. When I'm in the shower, I don't beat. When I'm in the shower, I wash myself.
Yeah.
You get me? You use your hand to.
You can't wash yourself properly again.
What can he do?
You can't do nothing.
And you know what? He had to use prosthetic arm now. There's people out there that are dying and they will cut an arm off for a real hand. And this is a man that's gone to super glue's hand on the road.
You know what? That's a good point.
Bro, that's where I'm getting on with it. Forget the whole banter and that. Like, people out there will they will sell their soul for a limb. You see what I'm trying to say? And this man has just voluntarily gone and thrown that limb away just to prove a point.
Because in his mind, his cause is much worth more than any other limb or any other person's well-being, whatever. He's ready to ride for it. But okay, so when you're at that point, like you said, when you're at that point, like he's gonna do it.
The question now I have now, is how did we get here? We drove in it.
Yeah.
So he hasn't won the case. You understand?
Agbaya.
It's one of them ones we're moving on because we got a storyteller in the house. Children's storyteller. You see, I told you, man, the baby mums, baby fathers, aunties, uncles, godfathers, godmothers, get your kids on this episode because we're about to go deep into what it means to be a storyteller. You see what I'm trying to say? With Preacher, the storyteller. So obviously talk to us, bro. Like, what made you even want to get into storytelling in the first place? Because like, knowing you, that was something that was even surprising to me when I heard that you're doing children's storyteller.
In all honesty, the best way I can start this, if I was gonna, I talk in a very kind of storyteller-esque way, so you'll have to forgive me.
Yeah.
If I was to say this as a book title, it would be God Moves in Mysterious Ways. Because I've always been telling stories, I just never realised what I was doing until the moment that I started doing it.
Yeah.
What got me in storytelling was the fact that I wanted to be an entertainer. I've always wanted to be in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
So, and in the lead up to trying to be an actor, for those out there who have tried to become actors and actresses, they will understand how cutthroat it is with, even if you're good, it's all about the image at the end of the day.
Okay.
So as time began to progress, I started to think of different ways in which I would, honestly speaking, hop the back fence.
Okay.
Because I began to realise that now everybody's in a queue to get into the front door of the industry. And now there's certain people hopping the back fence of, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So all of a sudden you get that little, yo, come this way, I got a little shortcut.
Yeah.
But then the thing is, there's also a queue of the shortcut.
Oh yeah, always.
So now you got to find your own kind of entrance into the industry that makes you unique to yourself. There's comedy, but once again, there's a queue of comedy. So I just started to think on different ways in which I could get into the industry. And I went for a few castings, did a casting at the Gruffalo Experience in Milton Keynes, pardon me, and it went well.
Okay.
What I had done is mixed in dramatic technique with storytelling. So well that the teachers said to me, have you ever thought about coming down to school and doing what you've just done here at school? I said, no. We'll try it. Let's try it.
Okay.
And it worked. And then I went home that day and I said, raw, okay, there's an angle here. Storytelling.
So wait, just to interrupt. So before that, did you ever storytelling or like, I don't know, anything like that never ever crossed your mind? Or
No.
You just know every time you tell a story to your bedroom, to your friend, even like you as well, it's just like it's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And no one ever said, right, you should just like tell stories or just
call me Preacher and said I talk a lot.
You know what?
That's where the name Preacher came from.
Yeah, you know what it is? I
was
say,
going to ask that next. I was going to say, so where did the name come from?
The name Preacher. I would say it's more that we saw Preacher as like extra.
Okay.
Extracurricular.
Okay.
I got a friend like that, old type Farouk, because we know Farouk, innit? Henchman. We extra kid.
Gym man, bro.
Gym man. We used to like, no, man used to
Wham, bro.
Like, man used to do extra stuff to the point that we're like, bro, what are you doing? You see?
Yeah, okay.
Like, as Preacher and Farouk, I'm not relating both of them, but with Preacher, it's one of them ones like, we didn't understand the reason behind it. You see? Until we started seeing like the storytelling, things started coming to.
It's like a superpower. You know, like an X-Men, you got a superpower, then you have to learn how to kind of control it.
Control it because
when you control it, and that's
exactly. When you're around, when you're around the wrong people, they don't know how to cater and
and nurture it. And
you see, because like we said, we might call him extra, but to someone else in that understand that situation, they might say, "Run,
there's a lane here.
There's a lane. We need to channel this into something positive." That makes sense. And now that he channeled all of that energy into his day-to-day activities, gym, storytelling, he does a lot of volunteering work as well. You see, so it's a thing where like we say, don't stop, carry on, because that's what makes you stand out from the rest. And sometimes, unfortunately, like we said on the show, there's people out there that because they weren't able to understand where he was coming from, that could have been seen as him raising a benchmark. And, nobody in the group likes to see someone raise a benchmark.
Yeah. The fact
that's
that you're
why I sorry to
threatened.
interject, but that's why I've got to kind of correct something that was said earlier.
Yeah.
To Gracie's Corner and all of them lot, in terms of Preacher the Storyteller's giving you a run for your money. I'm not giving anyone a run for their money. Keep your money. What I'm trying to do is give myself a run for my money.
Okay.
Because
Hey, hold on.
Yeah, it's true.
Hey.
Man, span the block. Man, span the block again.
We normally click. Preacher, you have to click with us, bro. Come on.
Yeah, that was
Like
a gem.
and subscribe.
That was a gem, still.
Hey, carry on, G.
So yeah, I'm trying to make a run for my money still, because it's my lane and it's my unique characteristic technique I'm trying to master. Because when we talk about storytelling, and when I say I'm a children's storyteller, I don't just mean children in terms of 5, 6, and 7s. Because when you all really deep it, you're a child, we're all still children.
Yeah.
Even our parents are still children when they go to their parents.
Yeah.
So children's storyteller is just a storytelling technique in order to engage your imagination.
Wow.
Because when I begin to engage your imagination, that means your brain begins to exercise. And then when your brain begins to exercise, your creativity begins to come alive. And when there's creativity within you, there begins to be unlimitation to what you can and cannot do.
Okay.
So that's why I tell stories. And that's why I had to correct that, because my level of storytelling is I'm trying to master my own technique. Anybody who tries to copycat someone else's technique, you will never be true to yourself. And I feel in today's society, because in the weirdest way, in order to be so good at what I do, it's not a character. It's now me understanding who I am and saying that, okay, when I meet people, I'm not just quiet and watching you just to watch you. I'm unraveling your story, because when I unravel your story, I know how best to communicate and maneuver around you. And I feel, once again, that's what a lot of people lack, the understanding of someone's story. You don't need to accept someone's story. You just need to understand where their story is. So once you understand their story, it can kind of quiet a lot of the noise down for you. So my own lane is mastering this technique. It's showing the whole world the power of storytelling in terms of telling a story, but invoking change, invoking creativity, invoking a kind of growth to how you even gym. Like, imagine this. Imagine before you go to the gym, you hear this, you're looking in the mirror and you have someone say to you, bro, you know what you're doing this for. You know, for the last 6 years, your knees have been going weak and like you're going to get older. Are you going to get to the day where you have kids and you go to their sports day and then you're about to run and then another dad outruns you at that sports day?
Yeah, that one.
Let me tell you, I was at sports day in my son's school.
Did they outrun you?
Bro, the dad tried to outrun me. But you know what? He outrun me.
Did they outrun you? This guy, you're doing a story. You should have listened to yourself.
Bro, no, you know what?
Like
because
I just said,
I was going to do up the real macho thing and outrun the guy. But I thought, if man overdoes this thing, you know, let the other dads understand that they're still young as well. Because I was the youngest dad there. But you see, oh, come on. The guy saw a black young, you get me, fit guy. And he wanted to do so I let him take the shine, innit?
Yeah.
Obviously, but I should have outrun him.
But yeah, let me interject as well. I think what you're doing is amazing, because I think, you know, cool storytelling, that's one skill in itself, but being able to kind of, you know, connect with an individual like on that level, you know, where you get to make their brain exercise a little bit, maybe speak to them in a certain type of way, or like this the imagination, you know, as a kid, you know, we've got so much imagination. Sometimes we even lose that as an adult.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So being able to unlock that again, yeah, I think that's an amazing thing, man. So no, big that up. What I want to know, like, you know, maybe at the start when you was doing this, like, what kept you motivated? Like, was there any times where you was thinking, like, this is difficult, this is hard, this is new to me? Did you ever get that imposter syndrome? Like, if you was ever in a room with other like entertainers as well, like, how was that start, that first maybe that year, or, you know, getting into it? How was that for you?
The first year, if I'm honest with you, It was a bit of a. It was the second year that hit hard because the first year, I was on a kind of path just to do a YouTube show.
Okay.
I said, let me just do it as a YouTube channel, kind of use that as an angle to get into.
Because YouTube is YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reggie Yates started off as Blue Peter, and now
Yeah.
Old type Reggie Yates,
Yeah, come on.
real G.
So the second one, was a bit hard because the first year I wanted to do it as just a YouTube channel, so I wasn't really as serious as I am now because I just wanted to break into the game, hopefully become an actor for it. But then the person I was working with who was doing the video began to let me down. So when I then sat down and said, does this even make sense? I'm trying to do YouTube with no videographer.
It's crazy.
Did you? I think like just interject. I think there's a time we've all been there where you might be doing something with someone, and they just fall off. And maybe it's just two of you, and it gets hard, isn't it? Did you ever think to yourself, right, I'm just buy one camera, just do it myself?
But then the thing is also, I need to now learn to edit again.
Yep.
I need to do this.
The whole thing, yeah.
But then there's the question of, I need the finances to fund the equipment needed to get that, but I also need the time to be able to get the extra finances. So I was there saying, oh, goodness gracious. But then stories. The idea came to my head, stories. That's everything that has driven this whole journey of me is stories. There are different levels of stories, audio stories, musical stories, stories you speak, stories by saying how was your day and you regale someone with how your day was. So once again, there's always different ways to progress within the entertainment industry, within storytelling. There's YouTube storytelling, but now there's also live storytelling. So I said, instead of focusing so much on the YouTube storytelling, let me focus now on getting into schools more, in doing in-face person storytelling, because I was doing children's parties at the same time. Let me mix that and let me begin to build.
I want to cut you off quickly because you spoke about storylines and each person has their own story to fulfill. And obviously, like, I want to speak a bit about your family because you come from a very, the family is very organized. Okay. From the father, who's the man of the house, who set the foundations for all the kids, to the youngest in the family, who's probably sisters in uni. You see what I'm trying to say? Everyone's on a level. You see, shout out your brother, his brother's still shady. You see, so well-known rapper. You see, younger brother, pastor now as well.
Yeah.
So big up to him.
Young Shady, why Shady there as
Young
well.
Shady as well. So it's one of them ones like, you're the oldest in your house. So you can imagine there's a lot of expectation on you. Responsibility. So, like, tell us how difficult it was to possibly even tell your parents that you want to be a storyteller, because we come from African households where doctor, lawyer, you see,
social worker,
something, pastor.
Yeah.
You understand?
None of this creativity stuff.
As long as it's nothing to do with. As long as it's not got something to do with, maybe we could say selling yourself short in the eyes of a first generation African. So, like, talk to us about the difficulty in the breaking the news to the fam, that you're going to be a storyteller, and if that had any sort of impact in their judgments towards you.
So telling my family that I was going to be a storyteller, that was easy.
Okay.
The reason the action of it was a bit harder goes back to your question of how hard was it, and me saying about the second year. Because in the second year, when I decided that I wanted to open up to more live storytelling, that's when the question of how good are you at this craft?
Okay.
And there's not a lot of people doing storytelling. And when you say storyteller, you see an old Caucasian guy with feathers in his hair. And you don't really see a black male storyteller. You rarely see a black male children's entertainer. So as much as I had a unique selling point, I also had a thing against me that it's not really something people do.
Yeah.
And as you know, in an African household, what drives the actions of parents is it going to bring in the finances?
Yeah, it's money, man.
Exactly, yeah.
That's why they always go to, and they've always then to doctors, to lawyers.
They know
because that's
yeah.
the storyline they've always seen is when you get into that profession, that's when you make it. Funny enough, though, a lot of Africans, traditional parents of the African culture who have gotten into doctors have now realised that story they created
It's not always true.
not always true.
always
a lot of
true,
them work
yeah.
in NHS, and it's not the story they thought was
it's
going to
not the
be
glamorous.
the story.
Yeah.
Because now that we're clapping for the NHS, they're not happy. They want money.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, when I then said that I want to be a storyteller, it was easy to tell them, but there was always the kind of, okay,
Like, what now?
so okay, don't you think you're so there? What about the teaching? Teaching, and I'd always have to kind of give them not give them excuses, but validation as to why storytelling. So every time I go home, there's always a catch up. There's always, all right, this is what's going on now. Storytelling is doing this for me. It's doing that for me. It's bringing this in, just so they can always see.
Oh,
that
okay,
it's
it's work. Yeah.
However, that thought process of how good am I at this, and will this actually get somewhere? That's something that it constantly looms over me, because, as you know, when you're creating something no one else has done, that thought process of, yes, this could go really right or this could go really wrong, looms over. But what keeps me going is just the thought process of, me and God have had stern, serious conversations. Like,
come on,
this one there is gonna go because that's that. So as much as that second year was a very tough year, and it put me on a kind of a mental fight. A mental fight to kind of, how do I say this? To know what I was on and to know who I was.
Okay.
I always kind of say to myself that sometimes to know who you are, you have to fight the person you currently are being.
Yeah,
Of
trust
course,
me.
yeah.
No, 100%, man.
Yeah, and obviously
It's one of the hardest fights. One of the hardest fights, but I gotta carry on.
I'm gonna say, obviously, you know, talking about you have conversation with God and whatnot. Like, these are the sort of in the time of trouble, even in the time of peace. Is there any sort of scriptures, any Bible verses you could that weighs heavy in your heart when having, you know, these sort of troubled times or times of distress, or just?
The maddest thing is, no. And the reason I'm going to say no is because as much as I read my Bible, I don't read it enough to be able to know the scriptures, to be able to quote the scriptures.
Okay.
But the reason I don't feel no type of way about that is because I don't like to talk and quote the scriptures. I like to talk as if the scriptures are within me.
Jeez.
So if I was to speak and say something, you'd be like, oh, that sounds similar to that kind of scripture. But I don't need to know what scripture it sounds familiar to. I just need to know that I'm walking in that kind of...
That energy. Yeah.
Greater is he that is in me.
Literally.
That is I the world. Like a subscribe.
The Agbaya show, you already know.
Come on.
So there is one sentence that resounds in my heart continuously, and that is one of the most used sentences and phrases within the Bible, and it's "fear not." Those two words there, that resonates with me, because the voice, should I say, who uttered those words, that was God. So he's saying "fear not." That word, that phrase alone, I constantly hold in my heart. So when I do get that kind of thought process of, am I going to be able to do this, or I'm not there yet? All I hear is "fear not," and I'm good to go. And then I remember the story of Meshach and Abednego standing in the fire, and there was a fourth person there, and they weren't getting burnt by the fire. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about the Bible, pardon me, sorry, it's the Red Bull.
Jeez.
When they talk about the Bible, when they talk about the Quran, they almost forget to listen, because we have two ears for a reason. One to listen, the other to hear. Two eyes for a reason. One to see, but one to understand.
Jeez.
So if you're going to listen, if you're going to understand the Bible and understand the Quran, or understand any kind of spiritual material book, you need to understand that there's the message in. Don't just listen to the words that have said it. And when it comes to the story of Meshach and Abednego, the reason I had to say it like that is so your listeners who are listening and watching, they understand that I'm not trying to be out here preaching. I'm trying to say that fear not. That as long as you go into it with your heart, with your faith, and knowing that there's someone there watching you that's got you, no matter what kind of religion, what kind of walk you're walking, as long as you know there's someone with you, fair not. You're good.
And you know what? I like that because I came to one of your storytelling events, and that was part of the message. Fear not. God is here. You see, there's another one. But obviously, I'll just gas by his performance. And it's one of them.
I need to go on.
No,
time,
definitely.
bro.
Like, obviously, to our guests, to our fans out there, guys, with your kids, like, definitely. Even like he said, we're children ourselves. He tells grown people stories as well. Like, make sure you follow. I'm gonna put all the details below. Like, Preacher the Storyteller, crazy talent, telling you. And it's one of them ones. You can imagine it's tough doing this all on your own. Understanding that the people around you may not possibly be the best people to push you. And it's one of them ones, I'm just happy that you never decided to stop. You never told yourself, since that person not pushing, it doesn't make sense. Because there's people out there that appreciate your work, and you will never know if you don't come out of your comfort zone. You see what I'm trying to say?
That's true. This talk.
What's we were talking about the hard times and the struggles. What's like a good time that something's happened, you thought to yourself, yeah, you know what I mean? Like this that like you've gone to sleep happy, like, you know what I mean? This makes sense. It could be the day. It could be the day that it all fell into peace, like all fell to peace, or whatever time. That's like a good time, a good memory for you.
A good memory. There are so many, but one that kind of sticks out is a ongoing memory, because even though the characters within that memory change, it follows the same kind of construct. So I'll do a performance, and I'll finish the performance.
Yeah.
And the little ones will come up to me with their parents and will just say, "This was the best performance ever."
Come on.
Kids are honest. They don't need to lie. They tell you as it is. Yeah. And when you can see that the children have different kind of looks towards you. The kids of colour look at me like, that's my guy.
Yeah. That's us. Yeah. You look like me.
You see that, Tony?
Yeah. Told you.
And it's so sick because even the other kids will run to the kids and say, "Is that your uncle?" Because kids just see like
they're smiling. He looks like
he looks like he's
my brother.
Yeah. And they love it. But then from the other children, you'll see them looking at, he's so cool.
Yeah.
And all that says to me is we have one generation of kids who sees representation and sees me as someone to aspire to. Yeah. And you see another generation of kids who looks at me and sees me as someone not to fear, but someone just to be in awe of.
Yeah, of course.
So what I'm doing is in that one situation, is just kind of showing that don't even worry about what the noise of the world. And when I get that look from the children of, "You're cool," and when the parents shake my hand and they say,
rate it, yeah,
"That was the best performance I've ever seen," I go home saying, "This is why all I want to do is be a storyteller."
Jeez.
That's cold.
He said the dopamine feels like crack.
Yeah, I swear he's addicted, baby.
Addicted, baby.
I want it again. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Come on.
God damn.
But you know what, bro? We love that. And obviously, it's a shame because we got... Hey, bruv, come on.
Do you know what? Yeah, you see that? No, that feeling.
It's crazy.
It's a crazy feeling. I can't lie. Even for us, man, when we do the pod and we're talking to amazing people, I think for me, that's where I get that feeling of like, like raw, like I'm not saying helping, but I'm contributing to something great being made here.
Even me, as I said, I can't imagine myself thinking of good questions like this. Oh, we are so smart.
And speaking honestly, like I think all three of us can relate to this. From where we've come from,
100,
to be looked at a certain way, because we don't need to get into the backs of histories and things like that, but to be looked at a certain way, I always hated and said to myself, I hate when I'm wearing a hood, you look at me like that. And I said to myself, it's cool, because the day will come where you don't look at me like that. And it's almost like the hard work has changed the way certain people look at me.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this so much worth it, Because don't get me wrong, it's funny that you said about keep going, because when you begin to chase your dreams fully, the people that were holding you back, you begin to realize, begin to fall off when you fully become who you need to be.
Exactly.
110%.
And like I said, it's one of them ones nobody likes when somebody raises the benchmark. You understand? And obviously, we've got to round up. And before we round up, I just want to ask you any advice you would give to possibly your younger self who was trying to make it into the storytelling, the entertainment industry, as well as other kids who are looking up to you, and even adults that are looking up to you right now and just need that, possibly that word of encouragement. What would that be to them?
What I would say to my younger self, if I could talk to my younger self, would you literally to be, I would look at my younger self and say, this is what your choices get you to. I won't say how old you become. I won't say anything like that. I will just let myself know that this is what you get to. Because if I make it to what I need to get to, I have nothing to tell myself about mistakes or anything like that, because all my mistakes have made me who I am today to be able to achieve what I've achieved today.
So you had to go through
sometimes,
those stuff.
So what I always say to everyone, if you can talk to your younger self, don't go there and say, change this, change that. Go there and say to them, this is what I've become with all the choices. If you keep going how you're going, this is what you're going to end up as. And the young you is smart enough to be able to decipher and say, all right, maybe I shouldn't go out today and do that. Maybe I should read my book. Or, all right, things do get better. Because that's one thing we all face. Is it worth it? Even you doing the show, big up to you lot for getting to episode 23, because I've seen what you lot have done from where you have come from.
Season 3.
Season 3.
Come on. No, but it's what episode 23 is.
Episode-
Yeah, still in it, still, yeah.
So that's big, you know what I mean? But there's gonna be those moments where it's like, can I still do this? And wouldn't it make you so happy if Damager from 10 years down the line comes to you, he pulls up to you in a killer Lambo that you don't even know was possible, says, yo, keep going, you make it.
That's
You
it.
won't need nothing else.
This guy will call me. This guy will call me and say, Rem.
You know,
You call Jay, say Jay.
I'll say, bro.
You be on the same kind of vibe. You imagine you're just in the shower, you jump out and there's you there eating food from a crazy money plate, and you're just like, yo, keep going, and disappears. That's all you need.
I'll stop talking to everybody.
Yeah, that's what
I'll just keep.
I'm going.
to myself.
I'm chasing myself.
I cannot beat my meat again. I said this hand is the hand that will drive the Lambo.
Yeah. And with that being said, come on,
preacher.
what a show.
What a show, man. Before we go, let the people know where they can find you.
Come on.
So yeah, you can find me on all socials at Preacher the Storyteller. You type that into Google, everything comes up.
Jeez.
Also on the 11th of September, I will be walking from Nottingham all the way to London.
Come on.
Come on.
Before you go, plug that in. So Nottingham to London.
So yeah, I'm walking from Nottingham to London to raise £100,000 for 10 children's charities.
Wow.
So in a sense, I'm trying to raise £10,000 each for 10 children's charities, from Great Ormond Street to Lives Not Knives, to Genesis Sun, Sickle Cell UK, One World Done Heart, Dreams Come True, Children's Hand, Northants Young Carers, Scope, SOS Children's Villages. So yeah, I'm trying to just do my bit for the world and the community. So yeah, any support will be lovely. But yeah, Preacher the Storyteller. As I said, stories are for everyone. If you don't like a story, it simply doesn't mean you don't like reading or you don't like stories. It just means you've not found the right story for you.
And come on. Before we round up, listen, I want to really stress it out here. Like, this is the first time we've had a children's storyteller on the show. Like, think about your kids. Think about yourself as well, your child as well. Like, this is a man that's actually putting himself out there for the greatness and for the uplifting of children. You see, like, I can't stress it enough. Like, you get me, tune into him. You get your kids on it. You know, he's got a couple songs out there. 3 Little Piggies. 3 little piggies in the woods. You know, you see, he's got them. Like, your kids will love it. You know, don't shy away from it. And Preacher, thank you for coming on, bro.
Brother, thank you for having me. Remy, thank you for having me.
Come on, my guy.
Remy, we're out, man. Don't know, like and subscribe.
Yo.